Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Well, it's afternoon for me here in the UK. Good afternoon to those of you joining us from the UK. It could be good afternoon also if you're joining us from South Africa. It could be good morning if you're joining us from America and the Caribbean. So wherever you are, welcome and great to have you on here with us to today's Family Health Show. My name is Sharon Wallace. If you've never seen me before, I know it says the host laptop. I should change it to my name, but my phone has my name on it as well, so that can get a bit confusing. So my name's Sharon. Lovely to see you. We have a host of people on here, some names that I'm more familiar with and others that I'm less familiar with. And we have our presenter on here today as well. So I'm going to ask Sonya if she would just like to say hello.
Hello and happy Sabbath, everyone. Welcome to another TTI show.
Thank you, Sonya. And that's a lovely smile you have there. A lovely background. I'm not sure where it is. Are you?
Yeah, so yes, I'm out in the Caribbean at the moment, but enjoying some sunshine, but not for long.
Okay, I didn't know you were there. Okay. All right, well, I'm in my no, it's not virtual. I'm just in my kitchen. Okay. And our co-host today is Charlene. You won't be able to see her, but you'll be able to hear her. Charlene, say hi.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome.
Good afternoon, Charlene. Right, so if we can go on to our promo slides, we'll just have a little bit of information as to what we're doing with True Temperance International. Some of you, it may be your first time joining us. So TTI does stand for True Temperance International. We're a group of friends from the UK, from South Africa, from the Caribbean, who have a common purpose, which is to share this wonderful health message that we have with whoever wants to know about it from wherever you are. And there's so much information that we have available on our YouTube channel that you can always go back and look at any of the presentations we've had in the past. Covered so many things: child health, men's health, women's health, mental health, lifestyle diseases, so your diabetes, hypertension, lymphatic system, all the different body systems. So there's a lot of things we've covered, and there's so much material. I'm sure you'll find something that touches something that you're interested in. The skeletal system, we've had a physiotherapist on here, all sorts of people, even cooking shows with live cooking demos. So we've got a lot on here for you. So feel free to go back onto our YouTube channel, which would be True Temperance International, and have a look and browse through some of the presentations we've done in the past, and you'll get to know us better. Okay. So today we're currently coming towards the end of our season 2, which is we've almost kind of had one season per year, and we've been going for just over 2 years now. So fearfully and wonderfully made, know your body. Our bodies have been made so wonderfully. We could spend the whole time just on this topic, because the more you learn, the more you realize you didn't know, and you think, oh, that's interesting. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next slide, please, Charlene. And today we have a very interesting title: the sweetest M.I.C drop, the sweetest mic drop. Okay, stay tuned and you will find out a lot more about what that means, and I'm sure you will not be disappointed. So Sonya Barnes came on and said hello, and she is going to be presenting this amazing topic, a very sweet topic in more ways than one. And you will learn a lot. And if there's anything that you wanted to go back on because you think, oh, I missed that, remember, you can always do your screenshots if you've got that kind of device. And if not, you can go back on YouTube and watch it, and also invite your friends to watch as well. You can have a little party around and just have a health party, if you want to call it that. Okay, so the next slide is our disclaimer. Charlene, would you be able to read the disclaimer, please? Okay, if we just go back to the disclaimer.
Whoops, sorry.
That's okay.
And I can't go wrong. There we go. Okay, sorry. So only a physician can diagnose, treat, and prescribe for illness or disease. Any information disclosed or discussed at the TTI Zoom talk show is for educational and informational purposes only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your general practitioner regarding any illness or disease you may be suffering from.
Thank you, Charlene. And thank you for that music in the background. I don't know who's playing it, but it sounded nice.
Baby monitor.
Okay. She's sleeping now. Yeah, that did sound nice. It was a nice little touch. We are a family health show after all. Okay, so we do have Telegram groups for people to stay in touch with us in the week. If there are any particular health concerns you may have, you can put the question out, and there's a big family who are willing to help with a response. It's not just the TTI Health, TTI Council, but we're a big family of people of all walks of life, and we would all like to support each other. So we have a men's wellness group, because some of the issues may be more pertinent to men's health, and maybe they feel more comfortable discussing that amongst the brothers. We have a women's health group, a women's wellness Telegram group, and similarly, some of the questions may be more sensitive for women's conversation, women's feedback. So we're aware of the sensitivity that can come up with your health concerns. So we've provided separate men's wellness groups and women's wellness groups. And thirdly, we have our spiritual health group. And this is where you can offer encouragement through devotionals or a Bible text or something that you think, you know what, I'd like to share that, or get somebody's feedback on this particular health concern, spiritual health concern. Or if you've got a prayer request, we can all pray a family of prayer to help you with whatever the particular situation is. So feel free to take note of the URLs there, screenshot it, or if you're that quick, I've been talking a bit, so maybe you've been able to write it down. If not, you can go back on our YouTube and catch that. So feel free to join us and stay in touch in the week or a couple of weeks to come, because next week we're having a break, and then the following week we'll be back on. Oh, sorry, gotta get it right. Okay, I will fill you in when I get it right. Okay, my husband's saying no. Okay, all right then. So the next slide, please, Charlene. All right, so Janine Higgins, she's one of the True Temperance International Council team members, and she does she has an Instagram page, and she does cooking demos. So this one coming up is going to be the first Sunday of August. It's going to be on Zoom, so no matter where you are in the world, so long as you have Wi-Fi or data, you'll be able to join in. And the focus is going to be on raw food. So those of you who are trying to increase your raw food, get more of the food as it's naturally grown without denaturing with the enzyme, denaturing the enzymes, etc. I'm going into the presentation already. Sharon, be quiet. Okay. But learn how to make delicious raw recipes and discover the benefits of raw foods. So that's going to be the 7th of August from 1 till 3 p.m. There's a good time there, 2 hours, because Janine does cook along. So she'll send you the recipe in advance. If you contact her, there's her phone number and her email address. So if you contact her, Janine will send you the recipe in advance, and you'll have the opportunity to cook along with Janine and make some delicious recipes. The details are there, the cost is there, and so I think that's all the information you need. I have done cooking with Plant Easy, and the food has been very good. Similarly to when we've cooked with another Golden Palms. Again, you make food and you think, did I make that? Okay, so yeah, I really do recommend these sessions if you want to learn more about raw food. And the next slide, are you able to speak on this one, Charlene?
Okay, so we have a 10-day colon and liver detox starting September the 18th until the 27th of September. And this is with Mercy Store Health Ministry. And this detox program, this 10-day detox program. It helps to support the liver, helps to increase the bowel flow to the liver, makes the digestive system more effective, increases your absorption of vitamins and nutrients. It's a kickstart for weight loss and many more, I'm sure, when you do this detox. So if you would like to sign up, please contact Louise. Her telephone number is on the screen, and yes, it's for September the 18th. So if you would like to take part, please contact Louise.
Okay, and then coming up after that one in September, there's going to be another cleanse detox. This time it's going to include not just the colon and the liver, it's going to include the gallbladder. So this one's a 12-day cleanse because it's going to take a little bit longer because you're dealing with another organ. And it's incorporating the various ministries, not just Mercy's Door. We would also have Sonya Barnes, who will be presenting today, Dr. Louisa Magapi from Kwankwamani Institute of Wellness in South Africa, and Joan Cornwall, the herbalist and medical missionary who you've seen presented on TTI several times, as well as Dr. Magapi. So all four faces familiar to TTI. And that one, it was going to be in August, but it's now put back to October. So that's a 12-day colon, gallbladder, and liver flush. Only 30 places available, and there will be WhatsApp support and Zoom presentations. So that's going to be something that can be very life-changing. You can see there's two prices, an early bird price and if a late bird price. Okay, so feel free to contact those numbers, or the number, Louise's number, I believe it is, if you are interested in coming on to that 12-day cleanse. You are worth it. Your body is worth it. Your body will say thank you. And I know there's others that have done that before and they've said, wow, this was amazing. Right, and also coming up very soon, next month now, yeah, the end of next month, the 29th of August, the week before the children go back to school in the UK, we will be coming apart and resting a while. And I am so looking forward to this. It's going to be a week of face-to-face. Those of you who've only seen us on Zoom, or maybe you saw us a while ago and you'd love to come out and just get away from the hustle and bustle, come and join us in the beautiful Welsh countryside of Cefn-Lee. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 faces on there as presenters. There will be more, and there's going to be lots of workshops available for you, as well as devotions and evening spiritual presentations. We've got Dr. Conrad Vine, Pastor Davis, Jackie Brown, Joanna Daniel, Lucille Fifield. God willing, we'll have Brother Alvin McQueen and Andre Crawford and others, like I said. And excuse me if I've mispronounced any of the names, but please come along. It's going to be, we'll show you a video at the end of today's presentation because I haven't got it loaded up at the moment, but we'll show you the video that will tell you a lot more about this. But it's a health retreat. The price is so good for the week, and meals, they're self-catered accommodation, but if you want to have meals booked, and obviously there'll be a cost for the meals, that can be arranged as well for the week. So you'd have at least 2 meals a day, your breakfast and dinner or lunch, and then if you need another meal afterwards, that can be arranged, but you do have it will be a light meal. We promote breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince or princess, and supper like a pauper. So we promote that, and lots of places, fresh air, places to roam, faces to meet, things to do, workshops to go, learn, so many ministries to meet, and you can have consultations and treatment rooms as well. So looking forward to that. And I think that might be the last slide. Is there one more after that? Thank you, everybody, for all your support. So if you'd like to support us financially, we do have a bank account with our details there on this slide. So please take a note. And we also thank you for your prayers, for coming on, for staying with us, for inviting your friends. and just for being there. You know, we just being part of our family, our TTI family. So thank you all for your support. And I think we can end the slideshow there. Yep, that's it. So, we've had quite a few more people join us. So welcome. If you missed the early bird, welcome. Thank you for joining us. And we are going to have a really good presentation. We're going to learn about the M.I.C drop, the mic drop, and how sweet it can be to drop that mic. Okay. I'm sure that's a play on words. So Sonya will tell us a lot more about what that all means. So, sorry, my house is a busy kitchen, as you can hear different voices and the tap running. I encourage you to drink your water. I did have here we go. Yeah, so stay hydrated. It's a bit warm out there today, and in fact for the next week or so. So remember, keep that water going. That's part of one of your health doctors. Okay, so I will be quiet as I drink this, and Sonya will open up her mic. Enjoy.
Happy Sabbath again to those who've just joined us. We hope you're all having a good afternoon. And of course, I want to thank TTI for the warm welcome to share on the platform once again. It's always a pleasure all of mine to share what little that I know. And so, as you heard the topic, the sweetest, I'll just share my screen. Here we go. So it says the sweetest M.I.C drop. And I know it's created a bit of curiosity thinking, what is that? What is she going to be talking about? And so I'll be sharing a lot of information. Okay. And there'll be turns and twists because usually the terminology might drop if you're not familiar with it. Is often referred to something that's being said which maybe not readily available out there, or it could be a joke that someone says and they just drop the mic. Now, as I said, I'll be dropping some information, which I hope at the end of the presentation, you will then say, right, I wasn't quite aware of that. I need to do my own research, because I encourage you to do that. And if you already know, which some definitely might already know this information I'm going to share, that then we're on the same page. But it's always great to share. So 3 things I'm going to ask you to do for me. Only 3. And it's to have a glass of water, as Sharon just mentioned just now, and to stay with me. Okay, I'll be twisting turns, but stay with me. And the 3rd thing is to participate. By participating, to put comments in the chat, because that helps with all of our learning, and we're here to share. TTI is a family show, and I noticed there was a lady who was just joining for the very first time. Welcome. But for those of regular attendees, we're family. And so we're here to share together. So TTI, I want to congratulate you on the 2nd phase. You're coming to the end of the theme. You're fearfully and wonderfully made. We've had some marvelous presentations, informative presentations throughout the year, almost a year. And it just shows how we are fearfully and wonderfully made by God. God has made us in his own image, and he's provided for us all the things that we need to sustain our body, for us to be in good health. And so before I go any further, I know we prayed, I just want to pray again that God will guide me through this presentation so he will bring out what he wants you to hear. Let us pray. Loving God and our Father, we thank you for an opportunity again. And so, Lord, the information that I share with your people, that be in enlightenment, but more awareness, but also more to the glory of you, giving you the praise and the honor of the marvelous work you've done within us and the information you've given to us. So we have information now to support ourselves, to support our body, so then we can glorify you and tell others about you with us now that all will go well. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so on your screen, you will see, I'm going to ask you to have a look at, I'm going to jump the slide here. Yeah, okay. So this is the sweetest, So this is a terminology for the word sugar. Now, sugar is not an illegal street drug. Maybe it should be, I don't know. But sugar is more addictive, very addictive. And I know we can all resonate with sugar associating with happiness. I remember the earliest birthdays that I had. Of course, my birthday is on a day that I wouldn't say the entire world, but a lot of people celebrate Christmas. And so my dear parents, what they would do for me is to alternate Christmas, because we celebrate Christmas then. So they have me lovely birthday cake. It's always have a lot of icing on it. And I love cakes because I'm a sweet tooth. And of course, the following year, they'll alternate celebrating my birthday, whether it's in the morning or the following year is going to be in the evening. They often, because of course I have siblings, I'm not the only child. But as long as I remember, we used to have sugar. But the thing is, we only had sugar a particular time of the year, on your birthdays, or if we then went to a wedding. And I always look forward to the wedding because what I want the icing on the cake. I'm not even bothered about the cake and the fruits and all that stuff in it. I wanted the icing. And so sugar is addictive. Yes, we know it's all around us. And it's always associated with happiness. A lot of people, we use sugar for fuel. So we need a bit of pick me up, or we're working hard and our energy levels are dipping. So what we then do, we grab some sugar. But is that always a good thing? Now, perhaps you're here listening thinking, well, that doesn't apply to me, but it may apply to someone else who you know. So I'm going to ask you right now to have a look at this screen and which of these three would you choose? There's no wrong or right answer, it's your preference. If you have these three packets, you've been to the supermarket and you've think to yourself, right, I need to choose one of these. Which of them would you choose? And I'm going to ask you to put that in the chat, by the way. Which of these would you choose? So we have stevia. We have monk fruit blend. And we also have date sugar. Now, I'm not able to see the screen, the chat at the moment, but I'll pick it up later on. So just put in the chat which of these would you use, or maybe none. And if you say none, put actually word none in the chat. Which would you choose to use on a daily basis? I'll just give you some more time to put that in. Stevia, monk fruit, or date sugar? Where are you going with that? Which would you choose if you had to choose one? Okay, so sugar, there are various types of sugar. We have monosaccharides and disaccharides. And we have sugars, the body needs sugar. But what sugar does the body need? And so we have various different types of sugar to choose from. It was only in 2018 where the UK government actually put a regulation on manufacturers about the sugary soft drinks that we have readily available to us. And there was a regulation that if the soft drink had more than 5 grams of sugar per 100 ml, there was a regulation that's 18 pence per litre. But then if the content had 8 grams or more, then you would have to pay 24 pence per litre. Now, I know the UK government is actually trying to do its best in reducing sugar, because by now we all know that sugar is bad. Sugar has its place, but oftentimes is what's readily available to us is not what the body can recognize. So in May, just last couple of months, Britain will delay by 1 year new rules banning multiple buy deals on foods and drinks high in fat, salt, and sugar. Now they're delaying it. Why? Because of the recent increase in price for foods. And when I saw that, and it clearly says that there are some of us who will still reach for that sugar, the product with loads of sugar, which will have a negative impact on the body. And of course, it actually says here also that adults and children over 11 should have no more than 30 grams of sugar a day. Okay, so you might not eat any of this. And I would hope by now that if you're a regular attendee on the TTI show or any other health show or presentations, that you're more or less staying away from this. You're not giving this to your children, not so much the adults, but our children eating such sugar, such type of sugar. Then, of course, it could be all this array. And I remember my time, because being on a health journey, it's an actual journey. I remember when I would sit in an afternoon, especially if I'm watching a film, and I'd have those box of celebrations. And I will sit and eat every one of those. Now the box, those medium-sized boxes, okay? And I would happily eat that. But of course, knowledge has come to me and I've realized that that's not good for the body. Because even though I wasn't brought up that way, when I became an adult, I was responsible for my own cooking and I spent my own money buying my own food. I did what I liked. And I loved sugar, and sugar always asks me to come back for more. So, drinks. Again, this may not apply to you or appetizing to you, thinking, oh, I need one of these. But as you can see, we have Red Bull, we have Gatorade. One may think, well, Gatorade is not that bad because I need to put some energy back into my body. Because we're using sugar for fuel, right? And we eat drinking sugar, Fanta, okay, it has a bit, there's orange in it. Some good. What is the fuss all about? Why do I need to stop having sugar? But let's remind ourselves of some of the names of sugar. We have cane sugar, brown sugar, lactose, malt sugar, corn syrup, juice, rice, various different sugars. We have high fructose corn syrup. One may think, well, it's coming from corn. Really? But what about molasses? Molasses. Can I include that in my cooking as I'm moving away from eating sugar? I have a lot of sugar in my diet. Now for you, it may not look like that, but what about this? Are our children still eating? Because you may think, well, I'm not adding any sugar in my drinks. I'm not drinking those sodas. What about things we're eating now? What we're chewing? So it could be those burgers, those breads, those cookies. Because they're referred to as simple sugars, they give us the spike. And so we want more of that feeling, that dopamine in the brain. We want that feeling, we want to experience that feeling again. And these sugars, when you've got the ketchup, a bottle of ketchup, the amount of sugar, that's in our ketchup. You're thinking, right, okay. So then you think, well, I'm not doing too bad then if I have such things in my diet. Aloe vera is good, isn't it? Aloe vera, of course, good for the gut, for the skin, inside and out. So you may have it in your drink. But if you can see clearly on my screen, from what's depicted here, look how many teaspoons of sugar. And one of those cubes are a teaspoon of sugar, tablespoon of sugar, that's in a bottle of aloe vera. Let me think, what's aloe vera? It's natural, it's king. Also, the Vit Hit, the lean green, got some greens in it, vitamins, minerals in that drink. They have to add sugar in it. The Tropicana drink, and as small as a bottle is, the size of the bottle, the amount of sugar that's in it. Or children who drinks Capri Sun. And I want you to share this information with others if it doesn't directly apply to you. That sugar, the amount of sugars, even in our foods that we see or would classify as healthy, a healthier option than what was shown earlier before. Sugar's still lurking in it. The innocent smoothie, sugars. The naked antioxidant drink, sugars. They show up everywhere. Our children are bombarded. You know, the study that says Over 25,000 adverts a year. A child between the age of 2 to 11 will have to see coming across on the TV screen as they watch their favorite program. It's everywhere. We are bombarded. I often ask the question, why is that so? Is it because our taste buds are the way they are and we want more? So those who are providing the products, they are attending to our needs or what we want? Could that be? And so you always have children saying, okay, I want sugars, I want chocolate, I want that sweet. So it's just us parents or adults to educate our children. Know them by name. Know them by name. And of course, in Spain, sugar is classified as azúcar. And of course, in French and in German. But then we have other types of sugars. We have tagatose, sorbitol, aspartame. And if you can take a picture of these, because when you pick up a product, especially a healthy option, what's in that product? Is there sugars? Is there hidden sugars? Because even though the governments have all these regulations coming across, the manufacturers still manage to put some sweetness in because they think that we want that, because we come back for more. So if you're experiencing or feel fuzzy heads, brain fog, fatigue after a meal, mood swings, achy joints, allergies, what are we fueling ourselves with? And guilt, because oftentimes we know that the particular product or item is not very good for us, but we indulge anyway. And we feel guilty after. Why do we do that to ourselves? The sad truth is, though, the overconsumption of processed refined sugars and carbohydrates have been linked to many diseases. Hormone imbalances, to name a few. Behavioral problems, depression, anxiety, excess belly fat. And I'm not just picking on as women, because men have excess belly fat too. But for women, once you reach the age of 40 plus, where the hormones, estrogen and progesterone, they dance with each other, a bit of a seesaw, they're up and down, you will have a tendency of gaining weight because another hormone comes into play and it's testosterone. So all those three. And so you may think, well, when I was younger, I had an hourglass shape. I had quite tiny waist, small waist in comparison to my upper body and my lower body, my hip. But what are we feeding ourselves over the years? That the body's now saying, okay, because estrogen do hold things in place for us. And after a while, when we reach a certain age, when it's dipping, and that's when all these symptoms are showing up. And you're probably thinking, well, where is all this coming from? The body is fearfully and wonderfully. God made us that way. So of course, we made in his image. And so the body does a lot of things. And we just need to do the right thing for our body. So we've often heard that sugar is like a chemical, it's worse than cocaine, because it has us in a cycle. And if you're an individual who's stuck in a cycle or know someone who's stuck in the cycle, because what it is, we sometimes eat sugar to make us feel better. So we eat sugar, it spikes our blood sugar levels. Our bodies then, the beta cells in the pancreas, they churn out the insulin, saying, okay, go mop up the excess sugar in the blood. And after that, you feel, oh, I'm feeling hungry again. Because whether it was a burger, it was a biscuit, whatever it is you're eating a lot of, and you have that crash coming down. And it sends you back again to eating more of the sugar. So it may not be the sugary drink, it may not be the sweets of sugar or the chocolate, but it could be the carbohydrates that we're eating. Are they wholesome carbohydrates? Are they complex carbohydrates that will keep us fuller for longer? What are we putting in our mouth that we're on this cycle, going round and round and round, and very difficult to get off, because we then have cravings. And the cravings, because our hormones are imbalanced. We want more of that. And we feel guilty because we know we're not supposed to have it. And so we end this cycle going round and round. But we can get off, because sugar is not the only thing to fuel the body and let us feel good about ourselves. Sugar and stress. Sometimes we eat sugars to make us feel better, to remove whatever we're going through. We're trying to find coping mechanisms to cope. But sugar is not the thing. Our gut, when we eat sugar, those microbes in our gut, they can't do the job that they need to. It's because that is high in processed foods and added sugar can eliminate the beneficial bacteria that is so important with the functioning of our body. It causes an imbalance. And once you have the imbalance, you have good and bad bacteria. You often have more bad bacteria than good. And if you we remind you of the importance of the microbiome. Those microbes that live on the inside of us, especially in the digestive tract. They help to break down our foods, metabolize our foods, and we extract the energy, we extract the nutrients, so the blood can be filled with nutrients that's going to go around the body in order to do the job that it's there to do. We are fearfully, wonderfully made. So especially high fructose corn syrup leads to inflammation in the body. So we need to cook. We are encouraged on TTI and other health programs to make your own stuff. Your cookies, your breads, your cakes, but with more ingredients that the body recognizes. So we have agave, we have maple syrup, we've got honey and coconut sugar. And earlier when I asked you to put in the chat, if you had to choose one of these, dates, stevia, or monk fruit, which would you choose? So let me have a quick look if I can see what the chat was saying. No, I'm not able to see it. Oh yeah, here we go. Right, so someone says date sugar. Not every day though. Another person says date sugar. Thanks for participating, you two ladies. And I would also agree, for my preference, it would be date sugar. Why would I choose date sugar? Because date is the fruit, and it's the entire fruit that's broken down into sugar. So the body recognizes that, and it's coming in with nutrients. It's not just like a fructose corn syrup, which coming in empty calories. There's no nutrients to that, more than just sugar, processed sugar. But with dates, and of course, monk fruit is, I call it the new kid on the block. It's not always readily available to us, but it's out there now, and there's more talks about monk fruit. And of course, stevia, you only need a tiny little bit, because stevia is more, I think it's about 350 times sweeter than table sugar. And the monk fruit is about 250 times. I'm talking about a teaspoon of sugar. So very, 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 very sweet. But of course, date sugar is a fruit that body recognizes. And so when we need some sugar, reach for our fruits. Reach for these fruits that are sweet. They're coming into the body with fiber, antioxidants, which are available or needed, very much needed, in order to get rid of free radicals. So we know we take in oxygen, and the body and all the cells, they take in nutrients, but they have to get rid of nutrients as well, things that they're not actually using. And these fruits will also help with the antioxidants in them to get rid of stuff that the body doesn't need. So we need these sweeteners, but especially in the form here, and of course mentioned dates, sugar earlier. And of course, they are filled with minerals and vitamins. We need those. And of course, we need to have our carbs, because carbohydrates in the form of sugar or starch will look something like this. And so when you eat such foods, you're doing yourself a world of good. Loads of fibers here, loads of minerals. It's packed with minerals, packed with carbohydrates, packed with other nutrients. vitamins, polyphenols, resveratrol, all those components that we need for the body to operate at its best. And when we include those, see the body, the report says that the gut microbes, because they're coming in through the mouth, they're going into the gut. Because when we have these, and we eat this sort of way, it affects the metabolic process of the host, which are cells. And it includes the mineral metabolism. So the microbiota is involved in breaking down the calcium, the iron, the magnesium, the copper, and all these other minerals that we need on a daily basis. And of course, the probiotics have a positive effect on iron, calcium, and all the other minerals. When we talk about minerals, there are some literature that says there are over 140 minerals, which are not always readily available to us, but the body can use. But there's about 15 to 16 essential ones that the body requires on a daily basis. They come in inorganic substances, so it's not derived from living matter. And they need them, we only need them in small or trace amounts, right? Small amounts for the body to function. And they come in categories of whether they are macrominerals and microminerals. And so one of my favorite minerals to present on is none other than referred to as the master mineral. It's referred to as a master mineral because of its wondrous thing that it does to the body. It's magnificent because it's responsible for over 300 biochemical reactions and enzyme reactions in the body. It's often, though, forgotten about and referred to as the Cinderella mineral. And the reason for this is because it's one of the minerals that is easily, readily used up in the body, especially when the body goes through a period of stress. Now, we live in a stressful world. Unless you're living under a cave and you're not interacting with the rest of the world right now, to know what's going on. And even in the UK, petrol prices are going through the roof. A friend of mine said to me only last week, because of course she uses butter, and where she would purchase a tub of, I think it's 250 gram, small tub, where she normally pays £2.75 to £3, depends on the shop she shops in. And apparently that tub of butter has shoot through the roof and have been marked on the shelf price as for £8. £8 from a £2, maybe call it £3 cost to that price. So stress is everywhere. How is it going to happen for us? All our electricity bills are going through the roof. The whole world is in chaos. We're still in a pandemic. Things are still going on. The body is constantly going through stress. And so when we can incorporate magnesium in our diet, magnesium is a mineral, of course. It's the fourth abundant mineral in the body, so it comes under more the macro mineral. We need this on a daily basis. The recommended daily allowance is 320 milligrams for female and 410 for male. But when you eat your foods with magnesium, I'm sure you can get more than that. And you're encouraged to eat your foods with magnesium because magnesium, as I said before, is responsible for so many biochemicals in the body. And when you eat the foods with magnesium, it doesn't resemble the sugars, those type of sugars that we had earlier. The more alternative type sugar, yes, some will have some in it, but we need to eat our foods packed with magnesium. It will need another lecture, another day to expand more on what the body does and what magnesium does for the body. Because when it comes to relaxing your muscles, stomach muscles, your limbs, going to the toilet, your bowel movement, to sleep, you need magnesium. Magnesium helps us to sleep, so it helps with the circadian rhythm. It helps to reset those the body clock. There's a whole raft of things that magnesium does to the body. So we need to have that on a daily basis. Not to mention our immune system, because it helps with the lymphocytes, helps them to be alert, to be present. When there's an unwanted pathogen that comes in, that they are ready to push back for the innate system and the adaptive system in the immune system. So we need magnesium all around to help us. Magnesium, when it is low in the body, it causes a whole host of problems. And for the purpose, though, of this presentation, we'll be just looking at is increased inflammation and oxidative stress. You see, magnesium, when it is low, so it's not coming through with our foods, or because we have a dodgy stomach, a stomach that's not digesting properly, our gut health is not where it should be, we'll have low magnesium. So you may be eating the foods, but you're not seeing or feeling the benefits. But of course, you can use magnesium topically on the skin, or you can take magnesium as a supplement. But before you rushing out the magnesium, be aware that there are different forms of magnesium. I think there are about 7 or 8 forms of magnesium. So you will need to know which one will be applied to you in relation to what you're going through on a daily basis or every day, supporting the body. Then it will be magnesium glycinate. But magnesium is crucial because it helps to ward off inflammation. You know, once we have inflammation in the body, then there's something going on with the oxygen that's coming in. Now we know, or we inhale, the air goes into our lungs, and of course we have what's called the process starts, where we get oxygen in, and then there's a lot of process goes on in between that, where it gets circulated around. And so my next topic I'm talking about now is what is referred to as the incredible strong mineral, is referred to as the workhorse. It's a workhorse nutrient because it is very, very strong. And babies are born with 6 months supply. So when a baby is born, just enter the world, it has 6 months supply. And after growing up, then the needs will increase for that baby, and of course, adolescents and adults, and goes on. And of course, the other name, or the original name for this mineral, the original name is ferro. So we are talking about iron. Iron has a whole raft of benefits. It helps to make some hormones. But one of the points I want to make mention of is hemoglobin. Now, hemoglobin is a protein in the red blood cells that carries oxygen from the lungs to various parts of the body. And the other protein is hemoglobin, that takes the protein and oxygen to the muscles. So we got hemoglobin and we have microglobin. But iron is needed for that, to help with the hemoglobin. Iron is crucial. Magnesium is crucial, but iron is also crucial. Now, when you talk about iron, where is all of this iron? Iron, 70%, the literature says 70% is in hemoglobin, 10% is in the muscles, and on the 10% is in ferritin. That's like the storing the iron for us. And 4% in the serum. So the serum, it gets circulates and recycles every 24 hours. And of course, so the rest of the iron is in the proteins and the enzymes dotted around in the body. We know that if you're following a plant-based diet, that we won't be short on iron. When I talk to clients and someone who eats meat, whether it's beef, chicken, and all the other iron-rich foods, and I then suggest, what about changing your diet? But of course, they're presenting with high blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, aches and pains. And so looking at the diet, and realize, oh, the way how they're eating, there's a lot of sugar all over. Simple sugars most of the times as well too. But then of course, we look at the protein that they're having, and the protein is in the form of animal protein. So introducing them to a more plant-based, which is called non-heme iron, we get from our plants. The question is always, what am I going to do with my iron? I need my protein and iron. It keeps me strong. But we can do even much better with our seeds, with our beans, with our greens. We know kale is high. Burdock, and this is a herb, but burdock, sarsaparilla is high in iron. I mean, I talk about herbs, in addition to the foods, and so the beans, the peas, the lentils, and the red kidney beans, and the black beans, and the chickpea, and all that stuff that's shown here. And this, of course, this list is not exhaustive. So we talk about herbs and other herbs out there, which is high in iron, because God has made us and he knows exactly what the body needs to function much better. But there's one writer says that, he says, the greatest stressor, one of the greatest stressors, not the, but one of the greatest stressors to the body is iron stress. Iron stress. And then of course, idle iron is a problem. So an iron that's left idle is a problem. It's like saying, the devil finds work for idle hands or mind. We need to be doing something which is conducive to life, as to just being a problem. And so when the body has too much iron, we then have something called hemochromatosis. That puts us at risk of type 2 diabetes. And I know you're probably thinking, well, oftentimes we don't even have enough. But yes, there are some individuals who show up with too much iron in the body. Joint pain or iron fist, because your joints, they hurt. Not able to bend your fingers, your knees, your back, your legs. Iron overload. Abdominal pain, chronic fatigue. And sometimes it shows up in the liver as a fatty liver or hepatitis C infection. So yes, we can have too much of this good thing. Balance, temperance is what we need. But in addition though, low iron. Now low iron has 3 stages. And as I said earlier before, stay with me. We're going somewhere with this. And so low iron, stage 1 is diminished total body iron content. So that's the first stage of it. So we know the serum levels are not showing up as they should. Where is the iron going? Second stage is reduced red blood cells formation. And this occurs when the iron supply is insufficient to support the formation of red blood cells. And then the next stage is you go to the GP, you've done some blood tests, results came back, and you're iron deficient. Iron deficient anemia, because there's no blood showing up there. And apparently, from the WHO website, over 3 million cases per year. Because the diagnosis is always low iron deficiency anemia. And let's remind ourselves of what some of the symptoms look like. General fatigue, weakness, pale skin, hair loss. The pregnant lady or the woman who is always craving for unusual things, she may not even be pregnant. Oftentimes she's not. But she's craving dirt and chalk and all those things that you start readily eating as foods. Dizziness, shortness of breath. And there's reports that says that 2% of adult men report as having this deficiency. And of course, non-Hispanic white women, but nearly 20% in Black and Hispanic American women. Now, the same goes across the piece in the UK. The numbers are quite high. Why is that? Iron is everywhere. Oxygen is everywhere. The iron-rich foods are readily available to us unless the diet is resembling those sweetness that we spoke about earlier. What's going on in our body? And so just remind ourselves of the definition of anemia. It's a condition in which the number of the red blood cells or the hemoglobin concentration within is lower than normal. It's low. What's causing that? So the anemia is often said, well, foods we eat. Could it be the foods that we're eating? Too much sugar, maybe? Is it sugar that we're eating? Could it be that we're eating iron-rich foods, but we're not soaking our food? So maybe the peas that has the hard shell, it could be those nuts, and we need to soak them to get the phytates off so we can better absorb them. Is it because we're actually eating our foods, our iron-rich foods, but we need them to eat them with vitamin C maybe, so it can be absorbed? Do we have a gut issue? What is causing the iron deficiency, anemia? But as we know, there is anemia, and there's over 400 other reasons or types of anemia. But iron deficiency anemia is one that's readily been described and diagnosed across the world. And you look at the literature and you see it. It's the iron, the iron, the iron. But majority of the times, we have too much iron in the body. What's going on with us? So, iron of inflammation, or otherwise known as chronic iron, anemia, chronic disease, ACD. And it's type of anemia that affects people who have conditions that cause inflammation. Sugar causes inflammation. The lack of magnesium will cause inflammation. And so these diseases, such as infections, autoimmune disease, links to cancer, and chronic kidney disease. Could it be that the common cause that you're feeling weak and fatigue and memory loss is because of anemia, inflammation, and not iron deficiency anemia? Some of the first signs of anemia, of course, weakness. So they're very similar. The iron or the anemia, generally, just a general anemia now, and not specific in terms of what's causing it. Gut upset, lack of energy, you become irritable, you realize you're not going to the toilet, you've lost your appetite, but you're not eating regularly and you're not going to the toilet, so it's constipation. It could be that you're facing a stressful situation as well. So when you eat your foods, it's very difficult for your food to break down because the body is fearfully and wonderfully made in that if you're stressed, the body will then shun all the blood and all the energy towards your limbs. And the gut is one of the last ones to pay attention to. So you're eating your foods, but digestion sits there. The food sits there in your stomach for much longer. And when your food sits much longer in your stomach, then of course you develop things like toxins. This food's coming in, not actually gone through the digestive system and process for it to be broken down, go through various stages for it to be metabolized and absorbed. And of course, the nutrients get taken out and go towards various parts of the body. So your body can function well. So your heart functions well, your lungs, your liver, your brain, your reproductive organs, the thyroid. And so what we diagnose and we're given medication. Yes, because the doctor will say, my iron's low, because the blood's showing that. When we ask what is the most common cause of iron deficiency, it's always labeled or presented to us as heavy periods or pregnancy. Those are very common causes to the NHS. And the WHO website actually says a nutritional deficiency, and that 30% of the population is being affected by this. We're living in some serious times, of course. And when I reflect on the foods that was readily available to us, even in my parents' days, you know, growing up seeing them planting and reaping and all that stuff, how many of us do that today? Because the foods are readily available to us to go to the shop and pick them up, and they are fortified with iron, so they're adding iron in, even though iron is around us, oxygen is readily around us. So we're having iron added to our foods, but is that the right iron for us that the body recognizes and can work well with? Could there be another reason as to why someone could be feeling weak, lethargic, fatigued, lost their motivation? To get up and go is just not there. Yes, they've taken a blood test, and the blood test actually shows iron is low. But sometimes they take the blood test and the ferritin is okay. So if the ferritin is okay, what's happening to this individual? Now, as a practitioner myself, and there's others on this forum here, we always want to look for the root cause. What's causing this person to feel the way they're feeling? And so by asking you to stay with me is also to remind us that when we are giving a diagnosis, because we have to go get our diagnosis, we go and get our tests done for those who want to. We need to ask questions as opposed to, and be the CEO of your body, because God made us that way. We belong to him, and he expects us to do what we told to do by him. But when you don't know something, when you're not aware of it, how can you then react differently or make different choices? And that's what the beauty of having all these health shows that put presentations on, to share that information. So next up in my M.I.C is what I'm now referring to as the understated mineral. We spoke about the magnificent one, the master one, you know, or magnesium, the strong one, the iron, which is everywhere, and the body needs it. But we're talking about this understated mineral now. And it's also referred to as the crane operator for iron, because iron's heavy. So it needs, this one here, it needs to be coming in with some strength to deal with iron. It's a good energy, and of course, it's otherwise known as cuprum. Cuprum. Now, this mineral is none other than copper. Now, copper on its own is a huge other big topic, and I know time is of the essence, right, in this presentation. And I believe in temperance, and so I don't want to keep you here for much longer than you have to. But copper mineral is understated. But thank goodness that the literature is out, the more awareness is being showing towards copper. It's in the Bible. If you look at John 3 in verse 14, you have iron and copper. And if you read the passage there, scripture, what comes up? So John 3 and verse 14 is there. But when you talk about copper, you have to then mention something else, a protein that's called ceruloplasmin. But before I get talking about that protein, which is crucial for copper, let's just remind ourselves the role of copper in the body. It's a cofactor for several enzymes. When it says cofactor, which means the other enzymes, they need copper to work well. Without copper, it's not going to work well. Iron absorption. So for iron to be absorbed in the body, we need copper. The body needs copper. So the red blood cells need copper. Healthy blood vessels, energy production. So when we may think, oh, I need some pick me up with the sweetness that we need, that will, yeah, get me going for a little while, and then we drop again. Could it be that we need copper? Could be that our diet could be low in copper? Energy production. And with energy production, we need magnesium and we need iron. I mean, of course, there's other vitamins and other cofactors there that works to bring that energy. The energy from the cell, I'm talking about the mitochondria. We spoke about the mitochondria some months ago, that in every cell is this little organelle called mitochondria. Well, we need magnesium, we need iron, and we need copper for the energy, for the mitochondria to work well. And I know I'm just giving you like the basics top end of this for copper and all of them, because we can go very, very deep, especially into copper and carbon and all that goes on. There's a lot more behind all this I'm saying here. Bone and connective tissues as well. Neurotransmitter in the brain, because we have a lot of the copper in the liver and we have a good amount in the brain. So in the pineal gland, we have the copper there. And so the neurotransmitters, so making us feel good about ourselves, sleeping, serotonin, by the time we wake up, till we go to bed, are we happy, we're motivated, all that good stuff. We need copper for that. And of course, the immune system, not to mention melanin, the color of our skin. We need copper in every cell of the body. Copper is from this study. It says that the microbes and the host regulate the entry of copper into the cells of the large intestines. And any disturbances in the processing of copper by the body have been linked to disease ranging from Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, and cancer, and it goes on. These are not just all of that. But we need copper, and of course, when we eat the foods, the copper foods, and we digest that, we need the gut microbes that are already there to help break down copper, because with copper, it helps with or iron. So next up, we have some foods. Cashew nuts, or lentils, or sunflower seeds. We have them readily available, but is the diet too sweet? Is it too sweet? And so we need more of this in our diet. And one of the things is that it helps, I want to point out in particular, it helps with the absorption of red blood cell and how it forms. So it's not just about iron, because if copper is not available in the bloodstream, in red blood cells, then iron cannot do its job. So we eat iron or take iron supplements, more to the point. A lot of us will take iron supplements, but without copper. So we have an overload, it's just sitting there. Where does it go? It needs copper to say, okay, you need to go here, there, and there. There needs passion up. We need it in the bloodstream to form. So we carry the oxygen to the cells. And so when we're feeling aches and pains, is it because there ain't enough copper? So when we're showing up with feeling tired and fatigued, is it the iron that's missing, or is it copper that's missing? Which is it? Here are some foods: green vegetables, beets, spinach, nuts, whole grains, beans. So we're not short of it. Because when copper is readily available, it impacts on our white blood cells, and they are key in being present in order to be on the lookout what's coming in. That's about the inflammatory response. So if we don't have copper in, we're lacking magnesium, what's happening to our response? Foreign things coming in. So the inflammatory response is not working as well as it should. And so sometimes our cells start attacking each other. The autoimmune thing going on there. Premature gray hairs. Now, if you're in a younger age and you're having, mom didn't have gray hairs at that time, no auntie, but you having premature gray hairs, could be because copper is deficient. Iron is in abundance, and on these two minerals, they are trace minerals, but there's more iron than copper. But there's a terminology in Jamaica that says, "Me little but me tolerable." If you're not from that part of the world, it means I may be small, but I'm powerful. I come with some power to get things done, and copper does that. Because we only need a small amount, it's a trace mineral. But we need copper in the body for iron to work its best. And we know the beauty of iron does to the body. Copper and or thyroid. It goes and balances the metabolisms, all the endocrine system. So the autoimmune and the diabetes and all those things that come on us, and obesity and copper, a little bit of copper. We need that. So here are some possible reasons why we are deficient in copper. We are diagnosed with celiac disease. We may have Crohn's disease, and of course, these two are related to the gut. Too much zinc. Now, during the pandemic, I was aware of being on a lot of presentations where the advice was, or the recommendation would be, ensure your zinc intake, your zinc intake. Now, the recommended daily allowance is 15 milligrams, but up to 30. But sometimes I would hear 75, and because we in the pandemic, and we need to support our body to fight back. And zinc comes in strong in supporting the immune system. So quite rightly, yes. But when the body is overloaded with zinc, it depletes copper. Both minerals, they fight for absorption. And that's why if you're taking a supplement, then my recommendation would be that you have copper and zinc together in the capsules, preferably from a reputable brand that is going to produce something that the body is supplement. So it's supplementing your diet, right? It's not something for you to be on forever and more, but ensure that you're taking a copper and zinc in the same capsule, as opposed to, or you can take it separately, but when you're taking them, the capsules must be taken at the same time. Okay. The other possible reason for copper deficiency is ascorbic acid, when there's a lot more of vitamin C. Now, for me personally, the verdict is out on that one, because we need vitamin C. But how much are we taking? Are we going overboard in vitamin C? So, is it iron deficiency anemia, or is it a copper deficiency anemia? Because copper is essential for absorbing iron in the gut. So if iron is not there, why is iron not presenting in the gut? Is it because copper is nowhere to be found? This is called an iron deficiency anemia, and a condition in which the body is unable to carry the oxygen to the tissues. Iron deficiency anemia. Now, I mentioned earlier about the ceruloplasmin. And what this is the protein that's made in the liver that carries the copper around the body to all the cells in the body. And it removes the iron from the cells. When you hear removing the iron from the cells, it means that the body has iron in it. It's just that but it's in the tissues. It's not just showing up in the serum levels. We're born, I said earlier that the baby is born with iron. We have iron in the body. Are we putting too much more, adding more iron to our body? We get it in our foods because our foods are fortified with iron. We take iron supplements. We're doing all this because we're feeling low and fatigued and lost memory, not concentrating. And we have to find a solution. But what's the root cause for that? Could it be that the body is low in nutrients? Some of these minerals that I'm talking about today. So I want you to think on these things. It says in 1935, it was established that the production of iron is copper dependent. Copper is the only element on Earth to activate oxygen for energy production. And iron in the tissue can be sometimes more than what's in the blood. Iron in the blood is not iron in the tissue. There's a difference there. And low hemoglobin does not always mean low ferritin and low iron. Iron deficiency anemia is also, or is it anemia, chronic disease? And low copper levels in the body may absorb less iron. How is our diet? Let me just say this right now, that the body, when TTI gave this theme for the whole year, the body is fearfully and wonderfully made, I want to congratulate them for choosing this theme, because we are incredibly, the way how we made up. And I think when I look at how the body operates, I marvel on the work of God. We are masterpiece. Do you know that the body, when the body knows that there's something wrong, so the pathogens are there and oops, there's something here not quite right, it tells the iron to move back into the cells, get out of where you're readily available and seen, and go back into the cells. So when you take your blood test, you may not show up having adequate iron. And the reason for that is pathogens, they gravitate to what? Iron. And when we talk about pathogens, we talk about bacteria, fungi, things and what the body's not, but to see them as threats. So we're not talking about what's in the gut and we need to have nurture the gut microbiome and for them to carry out their work. We don't talk about those ones, we talk about the bad ones, the ones that are no good to the body. They create all sorts of mischiefs to the body, to put it lightly. And so what the body does, because we are fearfully and wonderfully made, it says, move from where you're seen to move out of the blood. Because the pathogens will attach to the iron. And then, of course, that's going to get circulated around the blood. And there goes the inflammation again. Whether it could be shrinking pain, back pain, swelling, you name it. It shows up there because the body is inflamed. Now, the question is, why is that person's body inflamed? Is it the stress that they're going through? Is it with the work stress, chemical stress, emotional stress? It could be the foods they're eating, they're not eating right, or things are coming in. What's your stress? What is that stressing you? That the body sent to the organs, the enzymes and the microbes, all that to say, make room. I'm not interested in making any more iron right now. You in the stores, you stay there, don't come out. It's like saying to the children, tidy up your room, we got visitors, or we got enemy. Go in hiding, go in hiding. We can't keep showing up until it's clear to do so. Could it be? Could it be? Because the body does that. And so we ask ourselves questions sometimes when we go, and my next last two lines here is just for us to think about how the body hurts. We get up during the night, for those who do, and we go to urinate. But very rarely, it's rarely, that we go to pass a stool, a bowel movement. Because the same circadian rhythm that's responsible for the sleep and wake cycle is also responsible for the gut and the colon and, releasing and contracting. So it knows that it's night, it's time to sleep. All right, so you get up and you go, and that's why a lot of people go back to bed and they fall asleep. There are times, though, for other reasons, others will go back to bed, but not able to fall asleep. Could be medication, could be they're in pain, for whatever reason, it doesn't happen. But these are just snippets of what the body is capable of doing. An achy joint can predict the weather. Oh, I always hear my aunt say that it's gonna rain tomorrow. And I'm like, why are you guys gonna rain? Unless you look, I mean, at the time she didn't have a phone to say, oh, she's not phone techno savvy, to look on her phone to say, okay, what's the weather like for this week? No, but she could say, oh, it's gonna rain tomorrow. Oh, it's my why? Because my knee hurts. My knee hurts, yes. There's a whole raft of things that the body does. Some people call it weird things, strange things, but because we are fearfully and wonderfully made, our bodies are made and capable of doing. So as I close, you are a child of God, created by Him and in His image. You are fearfully and wonderfully made for His purpose. And I hope and pray that whatever you do, the encouragement, the recommendations that you've had over the past year and more, that you take them seriously and to feed your body with what's required of it. Practice the 8 laws of health, and nutrition is a big piece, but so is exercise, and so is water. Sunlight, let's get over to Indeed. The sun is being out. Some people are complaining about the sun. I love the sun. I gravitate to the sun, sunlight, sunshine. Temperance is a balance. Because just like how good as iron is, or magnesium, or copper is, if there's too much of it, it will cause a negative effect on the body. So we want to keep them in balance. And of course, air. Go out there getting that oxygen. Oxygen, get the oxygen so the lungs can send oxygen down and for us to make red blood cells that carry the nutrients to all the cells in the body. And rest. Sleep is key. That's when the body detoxifies itself during the night hours. Detoxify itself. The brain, the lungs, the liver, the gut, all the systems, they detoxify during the night. And of course, trust in divine power. It's a scary time, but the Bible says, fear thou not. I am with you. Be not dismayed. It's one of my favorite texts. Isaiah 41 and verse 10. But you have your favorite one. So repeat when you get onto a situation where you don't know where to go, what to do, where to turn. Call out on God. Reach out to Him. Because we're told that perilous times are coming, but perilous times and troublesome times are right here now. Can it get any worse? Some will say, yes, it will get worse. So if you haven't started yet, I'm recommending to you to start now. To look after yourself, look after your body, because God expects us to do so. Thank you for staying with me. Okay, hope you had your water and stayed me to the end. And I hope that whatever I've said, it either resonates with you, you would now intrigued to do more research on it, and it just confirms what you already know, that you can always share with others. I'm going to stop sharing now and then hand over to Sharon.
Thank you so much, Sister Sonya. That has been such great food for thought, and so much education as well. Really, really, I just love these presentations. I really do. So thank you so much for teaching us an alternative to the mic drop. Okay. And Edgar says, can you come back again? Well, to be honest, you know you're invited, and you've tempted us anyway, because you said, well, because of time, I can't go into this now, but another time. So yeah, we know you'll be back. Am I correct?
I'll be back, yes.
There you go. You heard from Sonia's mouth herself. She'll be back. Okay. So there have been a couple of questions in the chat. Are you hearing an echo? No, well, obviously not when I'm not talking, but I can hear it anyway, because I know another room in our house has this device, has a device on. Right, so yes, there have been a couple of questions in the chat. And I am happy to take your questions, but before the questions, there's two things I need to do. First of all, I need to clear up when we're next on. Okay, so next week, what date is it next week? Anyway, we're not on next week. And the following week, a few of us from TTI will be camping with some Pathfinders. So we're really looking forward to that. And I know one of the Pathfinder leaders is on here. So we'll be out there. Hopefully we'll get some nice sunshine. Not too much of the there you go, Haya. Right, not too much of the liquid sunshine, but we do need that to soften the ground. But yeah, so we'll be there, and the next time we'll be on here will be the 6th of August, best month of the year, I may add, 6th of August with Colin, I've just told you, with a new presenter. I wasn't supposed to say the name. We'll have a new presenter with you, first time presenting on TTI anyway, but you have heard this individual if you've stayed on to the end when we do Q&A. So really looking forward to then as well. And so thank you so much. Oh, Mike, I would have thought of that one. Sweetest mic drop. I like it. Right. So before we take any of your questions, I'm just going to run over to screen share myself, and we are going to play the video for Kefin Lee. Share sound. Hopefully you'll be able to see the video, and we're going for it.
Come Apart and Rest a While is a one-week holistic retreat in the relaxed rolling hills of the Welsh countryside. With something for everyone, from health checks and massages to seminars on country living, cooking demonstrations and the use of herbs, this conference brings together ministries from around the British Isles, sharing their experience and knowledge with you in a health retreat environment. Running from the 29th of August until September the 4th at the Stephen Lee Conference Centre. Whether it's for the week, the weekend, or just a day, your short vacation will exceed your expectation. And with food services ranging from self-catered to plant-based meals, and with comfortable spaces available from ensuite chalets to leisure homes and caravans, you can enjoy your tranquil accommodation. So take some rest, be refreshed, and make sure to make your reservation today. See you there.
So yes, right. So I hope you were able to hear that and see that the promo video for Kefin Lee. And whilst we don't have any ensuite chalets left, there's still spaces left in the standard chalets. And if there's a group of you that would like to come along, we would be happy to have you. But you're going to have to move quick because we're almost full. Not full yet. And that's for next month, the end of August, for a week in Kefin Lee till the 4th of September, the 29th of August to the 4th of September. There were details available. If you would like me to share the poster again, you can ask for that at the end, but we also have this recorded on YouTube. So remember, you can always go back and watch the presentation and the promo slides at the beginning, where we had the same contact number that was in the presentation, but there's just different ways. People like to see it in different ways. So thank you for staying with us. And we're going to take some questions now for you, Sonya. Question number one. I took the privilege, because nobody else had put a question out, so I took the privilege of putting the first question in there. And it goes like this. A lot of people I know don't like to eat certain fruits because they can be quite tart. For example, grapefruit, lemon, and I added in gooseberries because a friend of mine, he's growing gooseberries in his garden, and they're ripe now. They're gorgeous, gorgeous, but they're not the green variety. The green variety, he says he doesn't like because they're too tart. So these are the kind of reddish, pinkish, purplish kind of color, and they're really nice. They still have the taste of gooseberries, but they're sweeter. Right, so my screen has gone. Here we go. So I tend to respond when people say, oh, it's a bit tart, I don't like that. I tend to say that the body needs sweet, sour, bitter, and salt, because they're the different parts of the tongue, but a temperate amount of each. Can you tell me, what is it that we actually need from sour fruit? Because a lot of people go, ah! It's like, how can I need that? And it makes me do that.
Yeah. You see, sour fruits have a lot of vitamin C in it as well, and other compounds as well too. Now, and also resveratrol, which is really good for the blood as well. There's a lot. When we talk about antioxidants, it's a whole raft of antioxidants, and the color of the fruit, or whether it be purple, orange, pink grapefruit, they all play a part. They're coming in loaded with antioxidants for the cells. And so when we hear of eat variety, that's what it means, because the color is particular. God made that though. That didn't just drop from the sky somewhere. He requires for us to eat those. So when they don't like it, it's always bringing the awareness. Because when they understand why they need to eat something, then it's easily available. It's just like pomegranate. Pomegranate is tarty, and I don't like pomegranate, but I'm getting to like it, and I'm trying to build a good relationship with it. Because the next thing is, when we eat our fruits and we, oh, not this again, or this sour thing, already the mind saying, okay, get rid of that. We don't need that, because we're putting ourselves under stress. We didn't need it. And it may not be a big stressor, but it's a stress nonetheless. And so the body starts reacting to that and shutting down the gut in breaking down that fruit, whatever it is. So we have to, I say yes, we have to, and we're encouraged to strongly have a good relationship with these foods because they are beneficial to us. Not all of them, because depending on where we are on our health journey, what we are presenting with. So whether it's a diagnosis of, whatever that is, we're showing up with symptoms. There are some fruits, foods, vegetables that will react, or our body will react to them, because they're good. They're coming in loaded with, chlorophyll and antioxidants, but our body will repel them because of what's happening in our gut at the time. So I would say encourage the person, and that's why awareness of these shows and seminars are so good, because they tend to break down and explain the reason why we are eating, going a particular way. We're adding more fruits and vegetables and seeds and nuts in our diet because they are beneficial to the working of our organs. And of course, the tarty there's lots of vitamin C, loads of vitamin C, and vitamin C is, I have special vitamins and minerals I gravitate to. Vitamin C and vitamin D. I don't call it vitamin D because it's a hormones. That's not good. Vitamin C is great for many things. So the oranges and the lemon, they tarty, but they know it. So they work very well with iron.
Excellent. Thank you for such a wonderful explanation there. So when I go to have a currant, like a red currant or a black currant, and I don't like the taste. Red currants I can handle because they're not as tart. But even my blackberries, I've got blackberries, Edgar. Even my blackberries, I've got blackberries in the garden. And I'm frightened to eat them because, like, you pick it and you think, I think this one's going to be sweet. And you're like, but I still eat it because I know it's good for me. Like you said, the tartar, the more smarter.
There you go. There you go. And start small, you know, start small, have a little bit, and, you know.
Well, thankfully, currants are small.
Yeah, so only one or two, but you know, smaller portions, and then you think, right, you know, some of these you don't eat a lot on a daily basis.
Yeah.
The vitamin C, we need to incorporate that in our diet on a daily basis because the body doesn't make that. So we need all our water soluble vitamins every day.
Yeah, but thankfully there's many other ways you can get your vitamin C with your vegetables as well as your fruit. Definitely. So that's great. Right, well, that was a lovely answer to my question. So there's more questions that have appeared in the chat now. Let me just find them. So you alluded to it so much. I like the IDA. I don't like it, but you know, the iron deficient anemia, the copper deficient anemia, because you just think of anemia and you just think of, well, I got anemia, or so-and-so's got anemia, but you don't think of where the root cause of your anemia is. So that's what I said, man, education. Okay, educational purposes and informational purposes, as we say in our disclaimer. Right, so does a lack of copper then cause white or grey hair? Now, I'm just going to preempt your answer because you spoke about premature grey hair and white hair. So yeah, does a lack of copper cause white or grey hair?
Yeah. So the premature ones, definitely, because of course we have melanin, it's the pigment, and melanin shows the pigment of our skin. So if you start losing the darkness, the copper or the carbon, as they call it, of the hair, then to see what's happening in the diet. You know, are you eating enough copper foods? Could it be stress? What is it that's shunning the copper away from the gut? And it's going back to the root cause again. What's causing my gray hair? All right, so I reach for the dye and we get it all done and sorted. Yes, but what's causing the gray hair? And if it's not premature, because sometimes it can be hereditary, but sometimes not. And it's because the body is in lack of the nutrients, which is copper. And of course, there's others where you have selenium and silica, where we need it for the hair. But if it's like, I know for myself, I remember my mom having white hair for as long as I know, and she's always using a dye on her. She doesn't want to show her hairs. So I know it's in my genes. So when I was roughly about, I won't tell my age now, but say 20 years ago, I started seeing gray hairs popping up. I'm thinking, okay, it's my time. Didn't like them, still don't, but getting used to them. Because they look so nice on some ladies, you know, they just allow them to grow, quite rightly so, as opposed to using other chemicals to cover them up. But, you know, so the answer to that question is yes, nutrient deficiency will cause premature gray hair.
Okay, but when it's coming at the time when it's naturally should be coming, we just call that God's way of giving us highlights.
Yes, that's right. Yes, highlights, and lots of it as well too.
Yes, and sometimes it improves the look as well. The appearance it can do for some people. Right then, so thank you, Sonia, for an informative and a well-presented lecture. Here's another question, and that was from Audrey. So thank you, Audrey.
Welcome.
Here's a question from another person, Sarah. When is the best time to eat fruits? Is it in the mornings?
I would recommend that you have your fruits on empty stomach. You must have your fruits before your solid food. Because you know, fruits are majority water, unless you're going to have like mangoes or bananas or those other fruits. But ensure you have your fruits on empty stomach. So it will be before food. And I recommend morning is good. Some individuals have fruits in the evenings, and that's a choice. But how much fruit are you having in the evening? How when is your last piece of fruit before preparing for bed? You don't want to eat too close towards bedtime. Your bedtime is 9 or 10 o'clock. So it's what time? So I recommend having fruits in the morning because you can have your fruits, have a vitamin C, having it all there. Then you have your solids after. And you can have fruits with solids, but just say you have the fruits first for better absorption in the gut, for much better absorption. If you have the liquid and the solids, they don't really work too well together. And what you tend to have is that the food's backing up, have fermentation, because whatever the solids are you eating, solid food, it will take a longer time than what the melon will take to digest. So if you're eating your, and I've noticed this in my local church, there was a time when individuals would have potluck and they would serve the fruits for dessert. And of course, I shared with them that's, and you share the information. You're not going around wagging fingers, but you're just sharing information, what's best for the body. And so they always said, oh, the food police is coming, don't eat the fruit. And I was just laugh at that. But it's it's more, it's much better for the body. What's best for the body? Not so much for what your taste buds, what's best for the body. And eating the foods on an empty stomach, you get more of the benefits there because it breaks down quite quicker than solid foods does. So yeah, I would recommend it.
Okay, thank you so much. You preempted my question again because I was going to say, why is it that it should be had first thing in the morning? But you dealt with that, so thank you. And it does really make sense. When something makes sense to me, I'm more inclined to follow the teachings. If I'm just doing it because somebody said, I recommend, it's like, yeah, but why? So yeah, I'm good with that response. I really am. Now, earlier on on the previous question, when you was talking about copper, lack of copper can lead to premature graying. You may have mentioned this earlier, but it could be that my mind just tuned out. I was thinking about something else, maybe looking at the chat or something. But did you say what we need to for our bodies to absorb the copper? Did you mention that?
Yeah, so copper is absorbed in the gut. So we need good microbes in our gut to break down copper. So breaking down, the microbes.
You said the good microbes. And so how do we get these good microbes then?
So we get the good microbes from probiotics. Probiotics would be in like off the shelf, but a reputable one which the body recognizes, and not the yogurts that I won't put any names. Some yogurts in the shops, which would be a no-no because they're laden with sugar. We want to run away from that.
Right.
So we want to eat a wide variety of foods. And, and whenever I say this, I'm always cognizant of the fact that maybe not everyone has available to having that wide variety. But do the best that you can for your body, right? And so when you go to the supermarket, some people, they have a pattern. They know exactly what aisle to turn left or right, even the eyes closed, because they're going to the very same aisle every Friday, Thursday, whatever it is. And I'm saying to my clients, when you go, pick up a fruit or vegetable that you've never had before. It may not be one that you recognize in your culture or from where you're from, but pick something up or go to the grocery shop or to, other ethnic shops out there, and there's stuff and thinking, well, what's this? Okay, take it home, ask the shopkeeper what it is, so you know what it is, so you can Google it, think, what's this? How do I prepare this? Because when you eat a wide variety, you then feed the microbes in the gut. I mentioned earlier about pomegranate. I think the point I wanted to make escaped me, it's now back. Pomegranate is not a fruit that everybody goes and pick up every Friday, every Thursday. It's not, because of the taste of it. But pomegranate helps to feed the microbes in the gut that's responsible for metabolism. So when you're gaining weight, getting weight in places that you don't want, we want pomegranate because we want to feed the Akkermansia bacteria in the gut. And it loves pomegranate and it loves pears. So when you explain it that way, think, oh, so have some weight on, change your diet, incorporate these fruits, because when you do that, you feed those dormant microbes up there. So that's how we nurture our microbes. So they're there, you're born with them, but they're dormant, sometimes non-existent because of the foods we're eating. And we're not eating a variety, but we have to do our best. Do our best. You want to eat. Yeah.
Sorry, I just have to warn the family every time. Am I muted? Because they're always talking. Okay. So, I lost my train of thought now. Pomegranate. Pear. No, you didn't say pear. There was something else I was going to say.
Echinacea, or there's quite a few others, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so yes, so you were saying to get that good microbiome, and then we will be able to absorb the copper and all the other nutrients that we need. Oh, I know what I was going to ask you. You mentioned something about the probiotics, having a good reputable one, not the ones that you see that are sugar laden. So if you had a good probiotic, what would it taste like? Sour?
No, it's not sour. So that one is going to come in a packet, of course, and it's probably with the bacteria in it. You just take it with a pill or mix it in some water and you drink that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But I should quickly say though, if I talk about probiotics, then there's prebiotics and how we can, get more of these microbes in our guts. And the pre ones are readily available in our kitchen, or onions, or you may not have Jerusalem artichoke, but you may have onions. There's leek. You put some soup on. You put some leek in it. These are everyday stuff. We sometimes more have them in our kitchen than other things. Yeah. So, or potatoes as well. These are some form of prebiotics. If you're then not taking a supplement.
So there's prebiotics and probiotics, and they're both good for you. But you need to know what is what. Well, you don't need to, but yeah, it's good if you know what is what. And then you know that your diet is more balanced and more appropriate for what you need as an individual.
Yes.
It's good to know your body. It's good to know what you eat.
And we just remember that we are, feeding our taste buds, but we're actually feeding those microbes, and they do a tremendous job for us. So when we eat, we're not just eating for, it tastes nice. So we talk about our mouths now. Tastes nice, tastes sweet. What about the microbes? That's in the mouth too. But majority of them in the large intestines. When the food gets to them, they're thinking, what is this? I can't do much with this. Oh, I'm not being fed. And so I just lay dormant. I'm not doing any work. Without doing the work and showing up, then of course we set ourselves up for inflammation, for pain in the body, for breaking on our immune system. And just remember that our 70% of our immune system is in our gut. So we want to do as much as we can to feed or feed the army, I say, feed the army on the inside as much as we can. Yeah.
Okay, so you just gave me a thought, because according to this, the little name on there, it says I am the TTI host laptop. And I just thought host. So when we're feeding our bodies, we are actually a host for the microbiome.
Yes, the microbiome.
Yeah. We are the host for the microbiomes in our body. Yeah. And so a lot of times we don't think of that. We just think I'm feeding me, not I'm actually feeding. The only time I think of myself as being a host is if I'm pregnant and I have a child inside me. But we are pregnant with microbes.
The microbes, I like that. Yes, wow. We are.
Men and women. So you can have pregnant men because you are pregnant with microbes. Wow.
That is spot on. I like that. Quite rightly so. So we gotta be careful. What we put in our mouth.
The Holy Spirit gave me that one. I can't take the credit for that. Praise the Lord. You can't tell me God doesn't have a sense of humor. Right, there's some more questions coming on now. So thank you. Right, let me just have a look on here now. So we have, thank you, excellent presentation. Thank you, Valerie. Audrey says we have a natural microbiome which we should maintain and replenish if depleted. Okay, maybe you were talking about the probiotics. No, was I getting it right?
So the probiotics. We need to nurture those, and we'll be how we feed them. So more with the probe. Yeah.
If replenished, we deplete them, we feed them. Okay, remember we're the host for what we're pregnant with. Okay, yes. Right. Louise Reed, thank you. It's always better on an empty stomach with. Plus, if we eat our fruits earlier than later, It helps to burn the sugar earlier than later.
That's
It's
right.
also good to walk after to burn the
Mhm.
sugar, and this is better for diabetics.
That's right. Thank you.
So thank you for that, Louise. Really appreciate that extra comment there. And I'm not sure if there's any more comments. We're coming up to 5 o'clock. That's normally the time we aim to finish by. So do we have, we can allow you to unmute if anybody has a question for Sonya. We've just got another 5 minutes. So do we have, I've not seen any more come up in the chat. Hold on, I just need to see if there's a question or if there's anything particular, a challenge that you would like to set, Sonya. I'm just going to mute because again, I'm in a family kitchen.
Yeah, so the challenge I want to set is to just be more aware of the food you eat this week, but be more aware of the copper-rich foods that we're putting in or iron-rich foods in our body, okay? And just to ponder more on the fact that, because I know it may not be you per se, but it may know someone have heard about iron deficiency anemia, and whether is it the iron that's low in the body, or is it the fact that copper is not present for the iron to show up, or is there inflammation? Is the person feeling some pain, aches, and swelling and inflammation, and as a result of that, the body says to the iron to move away for now because pathogens, they love to latch on to iron. And then once they're in the blood, then of course, you know, you have a blood that you're going to detox that blood with drinking. I think is it burdock? Yes, burdock and all other iron-rich foods and juices to clean our blood. Because we have to clean our blood regularly, detox. And I know there's some detox sessions coming up. So of course, you're encouraged to get onto those. But the challenge again is to be mindful of the copper-rich foods and how much copper does for the body. We don't need a lot of copper, but copper is like the king of hormones at the moment. King of minerals, a big part at the moment. So look at copper-rich foods and iron-rich foods, and just be, you know, present. When I say present, when you're eating, look at the food you have, what you're preparing, and think to yourself how God has made you fearfully and wonderfully, and you're doing your best to support your body. You may make a dish and share, or share in the forum. I'm not on your forum, but share it to Sharon and to TGI team and Charlene and Janine, what you're doing. But the challenge is to be more aware and be present with what you put in your body.
Okay, thank you very much. So cuprum. Cuprum.
C-U-P-R-U-M.
Yeah, cuprum.
Look for that cuprum. Yeah.
Because at first when you said, and the next important mineral you need is cuprum, I'm like, who's that? But then obviously it is the chemical signal. If you look on the periodic table, you see Cu, and that's what it means, cuprum. So that's for the one for copper. So yes. Yeah, and you mentioned the text, John 3:14. I did look that up, and it said something about the serpent, if I be lifted up.
Yeah.
So, and how is that related to copper then?
Because in some versions, it talks about iron and copper that helps to make that serpent. Right, help to make the serpent on the cross, and he said, "I've been lifted up," but Christ is being lifted up, and so it is from one author was saying, well, the copper is so important, though it may small, it governs iron and so much in the body that it should be lifted up in terms of it should be seen as one of the most important mineral in the body. It being a trace one, because it's not, magnesium is much bigger and does a whole raft of good to the body, but copper is magnificent. And when you look at copper and studies and what it depicts into carbon, and it goes much bigger, much bigger, which you probably want to share here today. There's a lot there to learn. There's a whole lot to learn. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
It also links with the melanin and all that story.
Yeah. So that was brilliant. So if anybody missed anything, or you're thinking, what? Okay, this has been recorded. It is being recorded rather. So you can always go back onto YouTube and watch from the very beginning, and you'll get more of an understanding as to what we're talking about with regards to John 3:14 and the serpent and the iron and copper. One other thing that I did notice from your presentation was the link to inflammation. All three have a link to inflammation, the magnesium, the iron, and the copper, which I thought was quite interesting, because a lot of times people say many of our diseases come from inflammation. And then now we're seeing the link, because the lack of certain minerals or the intemperate amount of minerals can lead to the inflammation. So that was really good.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And at this point, I'd like to thank you, Sonya, for coming on and for presenting us with a little bit of your information that's in this head of yours. You've got so much in there. I wish I could just, cream off some more. But the thing is, you have more now that you've listened. What are you going to do with the information that you've learned? The more we apply it, the more we can give personal testimonies and talk about how good these minerals are. And we can say, this is what it did for me. And nobody can take that away from you, because that is your testimony. And perhaps if you come to Kefan Lee, you'll see Sonya there, and you'll be able to say, hey, Sonya, I did this and I did that. Or, I really like this part of your presentation. So thank you once again, Sonya. And we look forward to more education coming from you as you share with us on TTI about our amazing bodies and what we can do to look after and maintain them. So thank you. Do you have a passing comment?
Oh no, I just say God be praised. And I'm just amazed. I say it all the time, but I am just amazed how the body works. It does things that we not even we wouldn't fathom that it does. We think, oh yeah, we get up in the morning and we can move about. Yeah, we can breathe. Yeah, that's fine. No, there's a lot that goes on inside, but it needs the right nutrients for it to carry and breathe. So our body breaks. When our body breaks down, then we have illnesses, and it goes in stages until we have cell death, and things start falling apart. God doesn't want that for us. So we're encouraged to stay strong and do the best you can for your body, for yourself.
Thank you so much. And as you said, one of the challenge until we meet again is to look at how much copper. Look at the copper in your food. Well, obviously you want to look at everything, We've looked at magnesium and iron, but it's the one that's most often forgotten about. So remember, wake up that copper in your diet, and remember temperance. Okay, so don't just go mad and just start turning orange, because I don't know if that's what it does to you, but hey, I'm just saying that. Start turning orange because you've had too much copper. You start looking rusty. Or maybe that's iron.
But the thing is, and that's the beauty of it, because see, iron rusts, but copper doesn't.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, but it's just remind ourselves, when we want a quick energy boost and we reaching for sugar, ask yourself, what's my body lacking? Do I have enough magnesium? Do I have enough iron? Do I have enough copper? I mean, there's other nutrients, don't get me wrong, but for the purposes of presentation, do I have all those three in my diet? Because they are the ones who gives us the energy and the get up and go and the motivation. And, though we have living trouble sometimes, yes, we deal with all sorts of things, but then we are better able to face those crucibles. Yeah.
Yes, and my son just reminded me copper goes green as it oxidizes. So so temperance in all things. So thank you everybody for coming on, for spending your time with us this lovely sunny afternoon. For those of you who have been finding it a bit too hot, you were able to come inside and cool down, and it's been a wonderful 2 hours we've spent with you. So we look forward to seeing you again on the 6th of August, where we will be having another great presentation by a new presenter. I'm so looking forward to this. I'm sure I'll let it slip what the gender is. I'm sure he's going to have a lot of interesting comments, little quibs there, because he always does. And it's going to be great. So an episode not to be missed. If you, I'm
Is
bigging him up
he
now.
here? Is he here?
I'm bigging him up. Let me just yes.
Oh,
Yes,
no, let me, yeah, don't answer that. Yeah.
Oh no, here, don't answer.
No.
It's making it kind of obvious. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. But those of you who aren't on Zoom and who are watching this on YouTube, you'll just have to come on again. And Charlene, are you available to share the promo slides again? So for those who missed it earlier, hi Eugenie, hi Toinette, Paulette, Colin, Lorna. I'm just looking at some names that I didn't see at the beginning, or maybe I did see you, but I didn't say hello to you. Yeah, Charlene, are you near your device that you're able to put? Hey, here we go. All right, so we'll just talk through the promo slides again. Right, so we'll move on to, all right, so the TTI Telegram group. So TTI stands for True Temperance International. This is who you have tuned into. And we have support groups. So we have a men's wellness group on Telegram. Obviously, you need to download Telegram to your device first. And then when you've done that and you type in the URL, you are able to join us. We have a men's wellness group, we have a women's wellness group, and we have a spiritual health group. Thank you for that, Charlene. So that's on there. And then we have Plant Easy, Janine, who's part of our TTI team. She will be doing a raw food. Can we just go back to that one, please, Cheryl? She will be doing on the 7th of August. Is that right? Where's the date? Yeah, there we go. Sunday, the 7th of August. So the first Sunday in August, there will be a class learning about raw food. So it's Plant Easy. That's Janine's her handle, did you say? Okay. Plant Easy, if you come onto there with the Zoom class, you will learn so much about raw food. You'll get to make them along with Janine. She'll give you the recipes in advance. So if you contact her on that number, and there is a cost for this class, but it will be worth it, more than worth it, because remember, you go out for a meal, it may cost you that for maybe a meal for two, depending on where you're going. It may even be that just for one person, and that doesn't include anything else. That doesn't include dessert. But this is something that a lifelong skill that you'll have, and you'll be able to help feed yourself and your family some amazing raw foods, not just, I shouldn't say just salads, but this is going to be more than salads, and salads are amazing anyway. So contact Janine if you want to come onto that, and it's 2 hours of the raw food edition. So the number is there. And then Louise Reed, who gave us some information about eating on fruits on an empty stomach, the last comment in the chat, she'll be doing a 10-day colon and liver detox. She'll be doing the detox, but she'll be not doing the detox. She'll be leading out on a detox that you can partake in September the 18th to the 27th. There's many people that have done this detox, and they've come on and they've testified afterwards at how much their bodies are functioning better. So it will help to support your liver function. We've spoken about that. Increases the bile flow to the liver, helps to make your digestive system more effective. It helps to maintain regularity and prevent constipation. Will promote the increase and absorption of vitamins and nutrients. Again, we've been speaking about that today, and it will help to kickstart weight loss if that's what you need. Okay, so there's a cost there. This is with Mercy's Door Health Ministry, and that's coming up for 10 days, the 18th to the 27th of September this year. So that's the next promo on there. And then we have another one coming up. So that was two organs, the colon and the liver. And then the third organ, the gallbladder, often forgotten about, I suppose a bit like copper, really. But yeah, that's a 12-day cleanse, because you'll learn so much more about these organs, because it's not just about doing the cleanse, but you'll get the education along with it. So there will be WhatsApp support and Zoom presentations. You'll get a herb pack, and that price on there includes your postage and packaging. So this will be a 12-day cleanse. I remember, who was it now? Lorraine, when she did this, she came on and she spoke about it afterwards and said how amazing she felt. The information is second to none. So we'll have Louise Reed, Sonya Barnes, who you've just heard today, Dr. Louise Magapi, and Joan Cornwall. All 4 individuals have presented on TTI. So this will be a special treat to yourself. You know, sometimes people say, oh, I'll have a treat, and they have a chocolate. That's not really a treat. This is a true treat. Okay, so make a date, save the date, the 23rd of October to the 3rd of November, 12 days, looking after your organs. So there's a number on there to contact, Louise's number, 07833 497 532. And I think yes, this is promoting the Come Apart and Rest a While, the video that we showed before the Q&A. This is in association with Association of Health Reformers and TTI and other ministries. We'll be coming together in the UK and having wonderful workshops. Look, it says preaching, teaching, and healing, okay? This is Jesus's method of evangelism, and we choose to do the same. The price is amazing for 1 week, and you can contact us for more information on 07733 787 061. And there's also an email address, ttinternational777@gmail.com, and also ahreformers@gmail.com. And there's a website. So feel free, take a screenshot of this, and there will be therapies as well. So you'll be able to have treatments, and your mind, the workshops are your mind and disease detox and therapies, cooking demos, assessing your body chemistry, setting up a sanitarium, herbs in practice, country living, physiotherapy, health checks, and there will be more. We'll be doing exercise sessions in the morning, going for health walks, identifying plants, and yeah, and making time to get to know each other. So really looking forward to that. I pray, and please pray for this conference as well. You know, we encourage you to be healthy when you arrive, and even healthier when you leave. So we know that COVID is rising, the numbers are rising, so please be mindful that you need to be fit before you arrive, and you know, virus fit, I'm talking, and just be sensitive around that. So thank you very much for that. And the last slide is thanking you all for your support. So you stayed with us. I really appreciate those of you who came on. We know some have had to go for various reasons, but thank you all for coming. And those of you who are watching on YouTube, thank you as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks' time. Until then, enjoy the weather, enjoy the fresh air, enjoy the 8 doctors, and for some there may be 12 doctors, because there's different acronyms that you can use. So look after your health. Remember, health is true wealth. Okay, so I will take this opportunity to say goodbye to those of you on YouTube. We're going to sign off now. And those of you who are on Zoom, you will be able to unmute soon and just say goodbye or hello or whatever you wish to say. Let us know